Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our family podcast, Big Sam and Nephews. I'm Big Sam. I'm actually doing my podcast now, this portion of my podcast, live from the Kodak Room in Kansas Park in Fresno, California. And I'd like to introduce my two nephews that are on with me. One's on right now, maybe not. But anyway, Javier's on, and then Nathan and Franklin are on too. So we're going to get going. Oh, let me let you know right now that Big Sam and Nephews is sponsored by My Guy Market at 514 East Belmont Avenue here in the wonderful city of Fresno, the hot wonderful city of Fresno, California. The owner of My Guy Market is Sanchez and the cook is Eddie. And I'm going to give a shout out to Eddie. Eddie's had some heart operation. And so hoping that it's going to be well and hopefully come back soon, Eddie, because I need my classic cheeseburger sandwich. Just saying. And also, My Guy Market is, Big Sam and Nephews is also sponsored by Fresno Social Sports, where adults come to play and connect and have fun, and they are building community one game at a time. And you can join Fresno Social Sports at FresnoSocialSports.com. And the owner of that business is Eric DeYoung, a good buddy of mine here. He's actually Mr. Grizzly, too, here in the Grizzlies here. Anyway, let's get going. We're going to talk about some baseball today, folks. And one of the things we were talking about, you were talking about Ohtani, right?
Yeah, we're talking about Ohtani.
Now, Ohtani, would you put him in the category of the 10 best players of all time? I wouldn't.
I wouldn't
say that Ohtani's he's probably in the top 50. I could, if you take, picking the top 50 players, I would say that Ohtani would be one in the top 50. Not the top 10.
No, I think that I was having a conversation about this, and I think that a lot of the young media, they're ready to put somebody in the top 5, the top 10, and disregard
Too soon,
way too soon.
Too soon for one.
9 years is a good stat. I mean, his career is 283. He has 100 and he has 1,100 hits, I think it is, something like that. So I mean, he's on track to be up there as one of the best hitters. He has championships, of course. He pitches a little bit. I don't think he pitches enough to say he's a great pitcher.
He's not an everyday pitcher.
Yeah. He has good stats. Now I will say this: when he was an everyday pitcher, he was like 15-9. I think with the Angels, I think he was about 15-9 with a 3.19 ERA, something like that. He had big strikeouts. He is a strikeout pitcher. He's a power pitcher, of course, but when you start, it's like, what category do you want to put him in? It's like, as Nate will say,
I put him in the top 50.
Is he a 5-tool guy?
He's a 5-tool guy. But he would go in the top 50 all time.
Yeah.
Not the top.
I don't think he's
too many baseball players out there, great players.
I don't think he's dominant enough to put him in that top 10 category.
And that's the other thing too.
Where it's like, are you afraid to hit against him? No. Are you afraid to pinch to him? No. I'm gonna pitch to him. I don't have to pitch around him. So that's what I look at when I talk about, are you the upper echelon of hitters or pitchers? Nobody's afraid of you. And I'm not saying, people know that you was afraid of Greg Maddux. People know that you were afraid of Nolan Ryan, the big unit, Pedro Martinez. You didn't want to face those. You don't want to face them, right? So that's what I look at. I mean, now the numbers don't lie. What he's doing, the numbers don't lie. But I think with the hitting, cool. But with the pitching, it's like, it's not subpar, but it's like, it's not every day. It's not an everyday thing of Glavine, of John Smoltz. When I start thinking of pitchers, I'm like, yo, is he? What was the pitcher from the A's, right? The black pitcher. Is he Eckersley?
Oh, Holder?
Yeah. When you start, that's what I'm saying. When I start thinking about those, I'm like, is he that? No. And that's some history in baseball that we're overlooking all those guys and putting him over him.
Right. And they have stats.
Right. All right, Nate. It's on you, Nate. I know you got a lot to say. This is especially for you, Nate. This is especially for you. Because the text messages was going crazy. Boy, the text messages was going crazy.
Baseball, 5-tool. I think that because of his uniqueness of a tremendous hitter who's a darn good pitcher, that's very unique. You think of Babe Ruth, right? And so because of that, I'd say, something like what you said, he is well on his way to becoming one of the all-time greats. If he continues this for, let's say, 5 more years, and he's
injuries, man.
Yeah,
Injuries
everybody
are gonna
gets hurt,
come.
and so because of that, I'd say he doesn't get hurt a lot.
But he gets hurt. Got hurt recently.
Everybody gets hurt, you know. Everybody does. Willie Mays got hurt, the best ever.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Are we putting him in the Willie Mays category? No.
Well, they're different. They're different players. They're different players.
And that's what I think that's what I look at. And again, this all came from the internet. So this came from the internet, and people were talking about it on the internet, and it was like, oh, he's better than this guy. He's better than this guy. And it's the old stuff is like, yo,
when some 25-year-old says that, you know,
yeah, you know, that scratches my.
Always going to be somebody that
my students, 90% of them swear up and down that Kobe was better than Jordan. They didn't see Jordan, you know.
Yeah,
my generation.
Jordan was different.
Brown.
Yeah, Jordan was different. Yeah, I didn't see Jim Brown either. But I would not say that. I would not say that Todd Gurley or somebody is better than Jim Brown. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know.
Well, I think I do know what but see, I think that it kind of comes down to whoever is the best in the top two of whatever era.
Right.
And, you know, people, you know, some kid in high school, because he's the best player that he has seen, that he must be the greatest player of all time. You know?
Got you. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I get that. I mean, because, you know, he does pass the eye test right now, right? I mean, that like you said, the uniqueness of what he can do. You know, he could come in and spot places and spot starts, I would call them, and get it done, right?
Right.
So that's something that he can do. And that is, you know, and he's good for 5 innings, right? He's a good 5-inning pitcher, maybe 6. You know, then they get him out of there. So, you know,
in other words, he's a number 3 or 4.
But number 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Come in and spot places, and that's what I look at. But like you said, I mean, I agree he's unique, so I'm not taking that. But to say that he's an all-time top 5 right now or top tier, no, man, it's too many people that you have to leap over to get there.
You know what? How about this? I think that Willie Mays was the greatest player ever. But Babe Ruth was the biggest star ever. And I think Ohtani, much like the Babe, is the biggest star in the game today. And he is sustaining, you know, Ruth's early doing. He's continuing to pitch, and he's pitching quite well.
Right.
Pitching quite well.
Right.
Yeah. Pitching quite well.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at his stats and I was just like, you know, he's 9-2 in his last 10 starts.
He got impressive numbers. I would just say, I would put him in the top 50 category more so than the top 10 category.
Yeah, that's where I would put him.
You know, there are guys that our generation didn't talk about. Guys like, you know, I included 2 guys where everybody's heard of Josh Gibson, Satch Fade, Cool Papa Bell, guys like that. But not many people have heard or talked about Oscar Charleston. Willie Mays said Oscar Charleston was the best player he ever saw. Oscar was a speed power guy, you know. Ricky Henderson, but maybe even greater, other than base steal. So, you know, some of those guys, and then Josh, you know, as we all know now, is the career. Just think about this. He's now the career batting average leader. Okay. Now, his power totals, he had tremendous power. As an 18-year-old, he was playing at Yankee Stadium. He hit a ball out of the stadium, right? Some sites have him listed as 800 home runs because he played in the offseason in South American leagues, all that kind of thing, right? Because he couldn't play here. But factor in that he's a catcher. That means he plays, he'll play 2 or 3 games and take the next game off. So if he did what he did in, 2/3 to 3/4 of the time, and so if it wasn't 800, it was probably 600. So he hit 600 home runs, had nearly a 370 average. Like a howitzer. I mean, that's like crazy. Strong defensive catch. He did everything.
Right. I mean that's some of the things that like I say, that's some of the things that I look at, and I'm not ducking the Ohtanis, the whoever's, Mookie Betts or whatever, right? But it's too much history in baseball that I think that you have to jump over and prove yourself. It's too much. I mean, I didn't see Gibson. I didn't see, I didn't see Vita Blue. But I know that people consider them one of the greatest pitchers or one of the greatest hitters. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see Satchel Paige, but you could go back and say, hey man, that dude is definitely, with his numbers and with the stories and the lore and the legend that they have for millions and millions of people. Nah, man, you're definitely up there, right? So for me, that's what I look at. I look at the history of baseball, and I'm like, that's what I said. I was like, I can name 50 people that's better than him. You can name a lot of people, and I'm not saying he's a slouch, but I'm just like, yo, you can name a lot of guys from the 50s and the 60s and the 70s that will, is he better? Look at this.
They're higher on the list.
Yeah, that are higher. Is he better than the Mr. October? No.
Well, in some facets of the game, Reggie struck out a lot.
He did strike out a lot.
And Ohtani's probably going to pass. Reggie had 563 home runs. I think Ohtani's going to get that. Right.
Yeah, he's pretty close.
Reggie was not a great base runner. Was definitely not a great fielder. But I tell you what, Reggie hit home runs, and he was. I don't know about a great hitter. Talking about 5 tools. I mean, he was probably I bet he had a 270 career average. That's not great. He had a great power, and he was a winner. He had a nose for blood. He had a nose for blood. So we can sum it up like this and say that, I think anyway, that Ohtani is one of the top 2 or 3 players of his era.
That's a good one.
One of the top 2 or 3 players of his era. I mean, I think the other one would probably be Mike Trout.
Yeah. And remember, they were on the same team. It was him, Trout, and Pujols. So, I mean, and that's another thing that I look at. And I'm like, Trout is up there. He doesn't pitch, but I'm like, yo, Trout is up there. Mike Trout is up there. Just like Albert Pujols, and they were on the same squad. And when I started looking at it, I'm like, okay, well, there's a different way to look at things. A career, you can go on career stats and things like that, but when you start looking at it, it's like, okay, yeah. I mean, and like I say, yeah, he's an era guy. He's definitely an era guy. Not an all-time guy, right? Not an all-time guy.
I'm gonna put this to you. I think John Madden said it best, because there was like an endless debate of greatest quarterback. And John Madden said this. He said, you know what? You really can't compare Joe Montana. That's who it was the beginning of Joe Montana being called the greatest quarterback ever. So you really can't compare him to Johnny Unitas, Otto Graham, guys like that, because they played in different eras. All a guy can do is beat the guys who are in front of him.
Right.
That's it. And the records didn't exist. I mean, if you go back to Ty Cobb's era, Babe Ruth's home run record didn't exist. That was not even something to shoot for. Or Ty Cobb's stolen base record, not even something to shoot for guys before him. There weren't many before him, but so you go era, and I think one of the objective ways that I think is a pretty good barometer is that, like football, it's said by some objective analysts that Jerry Rice is the greatest football player ever. And the way that they gauge that, is how far above number 2 are his records. How far above number 2 are his records? And Jerry separated himself more than any player in history.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those ones. It's like,
So that's kind of a way to compare eras. In a way, I'm contradicting myself a little bit because I said, guys before Jerry didn't have Jerry's numbers to shoot for.
Right.
But still, distanced himself from the rest of the pack more than any other player, gauging position by position.
It's that we're old enough to have seen Jerry Rice play. So all we know is just Jerry Rice. Unless somebody else comes along down the road, because, Jerry Rice is like not just above everybody else. He's way above everybody else. Number 2.
It's like he had 2 careers, And you talk about getting hurt. He didn't get hurt. He didn't miss time until Warren Sapp deliberately grabbed him by the face mask and pulled him down because he couldn't catch him going around as clear as a bell. So he had basically 20 virtually uninterrupted years where he was the best receiver in the game. That's another gauge. Looking at a guy's prime, how long is a person's prime? Usually, I mean, the average player, like in male athletes, your prime year is 27, 26, 27, 28, right?
Right.
So, I mean, a normal prime is probably maybe 25, 30, 25 to 29, right? That means that's good, right? Often superstars are in their prime by their second year. They're in their prime by their second year, and they stay in their prime until they're 35 or 36 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, Steph Curry would be an example of that. That's almost not supposed to happen, So Rice was absolutely like that. Most superstars are, to be honest with you. But yeah, so I think it's almost impossible to gauge best, without those sort of qualifiers, without those caveats to make for individual eras.
Right. I totally agree. I mean, even Jerry Rice was going, at the age of 40, he was still, 1,000-yard receiver. So, I mean, when you talk about ultimate greatness, Tom Brady was still a great quarterback at the age of, 40, whatever, 42, 43. The rules helped him out, right? Just like LeBron, the rules helped LeBron out.
That's another consideration. See, Joe lost two Super Bowls, and the Niners lost one. Super Bowl, definitely one, because you can take pot shots at anybody, including the quarterback.
Yep.
So there's team you couldn't beat these guys. They were unbeatable. And so the only way to get them, the only way to have a chance was to take out their quarterback.
I mean,
before they take yours out. We didn't play that way.
Lawrence Taylor said it best why he thought Joe Montana was the best quarterback. He was like that, and he said just that. He was like, we couldn't beat him until I put a hit on him. and he was gone. That's the only way that they could beat the 49ers. And I was like, dang, that's true. He said, with Tom Brady, you can't, the rules help Tom Brady. Not saying he's not a great quarterback, but they helped him to get 3 more Super Bowls at the end of his career, where he doesn't have to get hit. He couldn't get hit. He
was protected.
Yeah, he was protected.
Right.
If you give Joe Montana that same protection, he's going to have, and there was a point in time where, if Joe Montana doesn't get hurt, the 49ers get 3 Super Bowls in a row. Easily. They get 3 Super Bowls. And so those are the things that that happens. And it's like, dang, then you got Steve Young that has to come in. So, it's a lot. And I think that's what Lawrence Taylor was saying. So, in my book, I think Joe Montana is the best quarterback I've ever seen.
I have to say, I would say that Brady had a nose for blood. That dude knew how to win.
Yeah,
knew how to win.
Yep.
But and the thing is, the Niners, their offense was, it changed the game. They couldn't be defensed, right? It could not be defensed. I went to a couple of 49ers practices back when Montana playing. They used to have their training camp out here in Rockets, California, out there in Roseville. And I think I watched Montana go at it.
We lost him.
And he can read defenses so well and so fast that, he would sort of start with the tight end or somebody come middle and make the same sheet up. Comes Jerry and John Taylor. So, and then out of the backfield, you had Roger Craig, who, bless his heart, announced that he's suffering from, early onset dementia. Am I still on?
Yeah. Here.
But that was, greatest offense ever. Sometimes I would say New Orleans or San Diego, but it was the greatest efficient offense. When they needed to get down quick and score, they passed, but they ran as well as they passed. They passed as well as they ran. And they had, basically,
Oh, yeah, we're right at 28 minutes also.
Okay, so sign off. Real quick, people, I'm gonna get ready and go eat. And up here at the Kodak here in Chancellor Park in the wonderful city of Fresno, California. And I want to tell you that Big Sam and Nephews is sponsored by My Guy Market at 504 East Belmont Avenue here in the wonderful city of Fresno, California. And the owner of My Guy Market is Roy Sanchez, and the cook Eddie is also recovering from heart operation. So good luck to you, Eddie. Come back soon because I need my packaged cheeseburger. Also, My Guy, I'm going too fast. Big Sam is also sponsored by Fresno Social Sports, where people come to play, to connect, one game at a time. And Fresno Sports, you go to FresnoSocialSports.com, and the owner of that business is Eric Young. And I'm going to go now. You guys have a rest of a good show. We'll talk to you next Sunday. All right, goodbye.
Later.
Later.